Your first item on the agenda is public comment, discussion of public comment. A meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting school corporation business. The meeting is not considered a public meeting. The meeting site is fully accessible, and any patron needing additional assistance asks to contact the superintendent or the office staff to present at the meeting, or contact the superintendent's office prior to the meeting. Handout of the agenda items about to be presented to the board were available at the sign-in table for patrons to review. Patrons have the opportunity to speak on the agenda items listed on the agenda. The board has set aside time for public comment on those agenda items. Patrons, when called, will ask by the board president to identify themselves and provide their address and limit the comments to 3 minutes. First spotlight this evening is Alexis Troyer, Mrs. Martinez. Do you want to speak?
Yes. Hi everyone, I'm Mrs. Martinez. I'm the art teacher for the middle and high school. And we are recognizing Alexis Troyer over here for her amazing accomplishments. She has won the National Congressional Art Competition, which is a very, very big honor. And you have slide of the artwork. So here's the artwork. There was a title. So this is her artwork that she completed on her own. I basically just told her about the competition and she ran with it. She was a TA in my class and I had seen her amazing talents just from her doodles or whatnot. I was like, you need to do this. And so she did it. She won. Pretty amazing. If you don't know about the competition, which I didn't know until I got the email. So here's a little bit about it. Each spring, the Congressional Institute sponsors a nationwide high school visual art competition to recognize and encourage artistic talent in the nation and in each congressional district. Since the Artistic Discovery competition began in 1982, more than 650,000 high school students have participated. So, pretty crazy. And we have a winner in Austin. Students submit entries to the representative's office, and panels of district artists select the winning entries. Winners are recognized both in their district and at an annual award ceremony in Washington, D.C. And then their winning artworks are displayed for 1 year at the U.S. Capitol. So, pretty amazing stuff.
Folks, you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting, or most don't, so you can go if you like.
Thank you.
First item on the agenda is approval of minutes, consideration of claims and payroll. We had October the 3rd and the 10th regular session, and October 30th as an executive session. The board members received the claims docket, payroll claims, and minutes in advance of the meeting. Fund and bank reports for October were supplied for review. Members were asked to contact myself for individual items if they had questions. At this time, I don't know if if you wanted to talk about a specific agenda item, there was a sheet at the door to fill out. We have several, or have some. I don't think we have any for this one. Okay, so we don't have any for the minutes.
I move we approve the minutes, claims, and payrolls as presented. I'll second.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes, claims, and payrolls as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Consideration of teacher appreciation grant stipend. We have not received the stipend amount yet. The school district anticipates receiving that teacher appreciation grants, which we use the stipend for qualified teachers for the performance during the 2022-23 school year. The grant is provided to teachers that meet the following criteria. They were employed in the classroom or directly providing education in virtual classroom settings. They received an evaluation of either effective or highly effective. They were employed for at least 120 days during the last school year. They were employed on December 1st of this year, and the legislation requires highly effective to be differentiated from the effective by 25%. Stipends paid within 20 days of receipt, and therefore I'm requesting approval of the distribution of those grant funds under the terms of the guidelines. The complete list of awards and the amounts distributed for each qualified teacher will be reported to the board. Next item is consideration of appointments. Mrs. Buck recommending Mr. Robert Knapp to fill the FMLA leave for classroom teacher. Mr. Knapp will be compensated the base salary for the first-year teacher, prorated for the number of days worked. He began his duties on October 23rd, 2023, and will continue through the end of the FMLA, and he's recommending retroactive approval. Consideration of appointments. Mr. Burkle is recommending the following coaching recommended for the 2023-24 winter season. Dawson Jacoby, 8th grade coach. John Jacoby, 7th grade coach. Keith Woolen, 7th and 8th grade volunteer coach. Todd Wrigley, 7th and 8th grade volunteer coach. Nate Burkle, 7th grade volunteer coach. Kane Gardner, 6th grade volunteer coach. Ryan Skinner, youth league volunteer coach. And Tommy Dillingham, youth league volunteer coach. Girls basketball, Kyle Evans for 8th grade coach. Eric Farley, 7th grade coach. Stephanie Meadows for 6th grade coach. And Caleb Stevens is 5th grade coach. Wrestling, Devin Miller is a varsity and middle school volunteer coach. Cheer, 7th and 8th grade, Laura Wilson, and Jamie Morrison, 5th and 6th. And that's the items on the agenda.
So under personnel items, we had two people, I believe that had, submitted paperwork. Nicole McDonald, the first one, so.
Right, can I just stand over here?
Sure.
Grab the seat.
Tell us who you are.
Okay,
and,
Nicole McDonald, do I have to say my address?
Supposed to.
6360 North County Road, 600 West in Mulberry, Indiana.
And which agenda item do you want to speak of?
Personnel,
Okay,
Mr. Thompson.
okay.
Okay?
That's on right here.
Okay. Mr. Thompson's not on the agenda this evening.
Personnel items are though, aren't they?
It's limited to what's on the slide. Those personnel items.
So I think probably the majority of people that are here tonight are here to talk
I
about.
would wait to say it might be the same topic. Well, since it's personnel and our students in our school, and this is the school board meeting, so there's my two.
Huh?
3 minutes.
Okay. 3 minutes. Go ahead, thank you.
Thank you. In the 7 years that Mr. Thompson has been principal of Rossville Middle Senior High School, my family and many other families in the community have been proud to send our kids to Rossville. From raising academic standards to making our school a safe place to learn, Mr. Thompson has been an integral part of the success of Rossville schools. Mr. Thompson treats every parent, student, and staff member the same, no matter their last name, no matter where they came from, their religion, race, or creed. So when all of this happened with Mr. Thompson, it prompted me and a lot of other people in the community to start asking questions. I'm sure it's common knowledge by now that a certain male athlete was kicked off of the basketball team and then the baseball team for behavior and attitude problems. Then, all of a sudden, the baseball team can no longer use the school equipment to maintain the field, which is a Title IX violation, by the way. This followed by Jim Hanna calling to have Brad Scott, the baseball coach, fired. The student athlete had been given multiple chances throughout his high school career to right his behavior. From my perspective, what happened to Mr. Thompson, and is probably still happening, is a clear-cut case of workplace retaliation. I know that Mr. Thompson did not take his decision to dismiss the student athlete from the baseball team lightly, and now he's suffering from relentless backlash. I feel this begs the question, if Jim Hanna would do this to the principal of our school, where does it end? So I'm asking the board and the community to do some critical thinking on this matter and ask ourselves if our current superintendent is right for Rossville schools moving forward. Thank you.
Okay. Jackie, I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name. Foshi? Okay.
Yeah.
So, and again, we're gonna stick with the agenda items and all that. So, if you have issues that you'd like to address your school board members about, you would ask them to address them at another time.
I don't know that it's miscellaneous, mine is not necessarily, it's not on Mr. Thompson. Mine is more of a follow-up to personnel items of what I brought to this body last month. In that, it's now been a month. I'm Jackie Boshi, I'm with South Street here in Roscoe. I did bring an issue to this body last month, and I received 0 follow-up in months for a major safety issue for my child. I have worked over the last 8 years, my child has been a student at Roscoe School since first grade. And I have always worked cooperatively and respectfully with the administration in these schools. Being that the advocate that my child had was not in the school at that time, and I was getting no response from current administration personnel-wise.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but if it's not regarding the items on the agenda, you're gonna have to stop.
Okay, well, there was an option for miscellaneous, so will I be allowed to address the board and why there was no
The miscellaneous items will be coming up, and those are things like we have surplus equipment for sale, so if it falls under that category. Or, things that are on the agenda.
What about the Indiana open door policy? We have a right to speak.
We are following the policy set forth by the legislature.
I don't think so.
It's written right here that, may school boards restrict public comment to items listed on the agenda. The Indiana Public Access Counselor addressed this question in 22-FC-124 on October 18th, 2022. The advisory opinion concluded that limiting subject matter for public comment at school board meetings to agenda items is not appropriate under the new statute. Constituents should be able to speak on items that are not explicitly listed on an agenda, yet may still be pertinent to school board business overall.
Why would we?
If this isn't the time and place when
Why
it
can't
is,
we do this?
Yeah.
we can't get a hold of anybody, you don't respond to
It's
emails.
ridiculous.
When is it?
Is
Are
the
you
board
afraid
gonna let
because
us
there's
speak,
more
or
of
who's
us
gonna let us
than there is
speak?
you
They're
guys?
afraid.
Yeah.
Our kids are your school, you're the school board.
We pay
We're
taxes.
us. Listen to us.
We elect them. Stick to the agenda, we'll put
You're
him
supposed
the
to be
agenda.
on our side for our students.
Yeah, why isn't he on the agenda?
We will do.
Let us speak.
Right.
I'd like a motion to add Mr. Thompson to the agenda
I will
tonight.
answer that question. The reason Mr. Thompson's not on the agenda, there's no business. with
But
Mr.
there is.
Oh, but
Thompson.
there is. Oh, there
But there
is.
is. This is
There
not
is.
over, there is. I'm sorry.
It's time it
There's
needs to
too
come
many-
out underneath the rug and everybody needs to
Things were not
know.
handled appropriately.
All right, we're gonna go back to our format here, so, Jackie, I believe you were probably about a minute in, so I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes to speak.
Okay,
Okay.
so my question is, how do I then, I went further and I brought my issue to the board. And I was very emotional last time, obviously, because this is my child's health and safety. So really the questions I was asking last time were what is administration, this body included, going to put into place so that if there are 2 simultaneous incidents that occur, everyone's safety is accounted for and everyone is being taken care of. The other question was, if there's not an administrator available at, let's say, the middle high school because they're attending to one incident, what is going to be communicated to your school administration within the building to make sure that if a child feels unsafe, they still have access to another administrator, whether it be a middle high school student that then asks for Mr. Denson or his vice principal, something to allow that. And if someone brings something of this nature to the board, what is this board's policy to then follow up with that parent? Because personally, I go and I intentionally go above and beyond to work cooperatively. With my child's medical conditions, it's about education, right? It's working with the administrators, with the staff, to make sure that everyone understands my child's medical conditions, that he is safe, that they understand them. And I'm not getting any communication, and I gotta be honest with you, the disappointment I feel in not hearing any follow-up from this body is real. And the relief I felt pulling into that drop-off line, and the advocate I know my child really has in the building back at the school yesterday was palpable. So, but in the interest of that, I did bring it to this body, and it was the first time I've ever brought anything to this body. So the response from this body was wholly disappointing to me, and then call me, talk with me, I'm not unreasonable, but if a parent of a child brings you something this serious, where is the follow-up? What is the protocol for the follow-up? That is where my concern is, and I feel as though as a parent of a child within your schools, and a constituent and a voter, it's not unreasonable for me to want that follow-up, especially when it's my child's life at stake. This is a life-threatening medical condition. This isn't like, hey, my child got his knee surgery, like, you know, it is.
Thank you for your comments. Betty, Lee?
Okay, I'm gonna try not to be emotional, I'm not quite as prepared.
Are you the one that I?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Betty Kopic.
Yes, okay.
I have been a transfer here for several years. I've already had one graduate, here at Rossville. We transferred here because of what Rossville was. I knew that there were teachers praying over my students, or over my kids and and other students. I knew that this was a safe place. I drive from Dayton. I have been doing this since 2013, a minimum of 2 round trips a day, choosing to come to Rossville. One of the main reasons that we continue here with my son, who is special needs, on the autism spectrum, who has social disorders and hearing loss and vision loss, things that you wouldn't believe, that he doesn't want anybody to know, so I'm telling, but it's because of this man right here. Because I know he's safe, because when he was bullied and I brought it to his attention, he handled it. He handled me when I was getting too much. And Mom, hold on a second. He handled the situation fairly and properly. I continue to come to Rossville because I thought as parents we would be heard, whereas in other school districts we weren't. I continue to fill out paperwork every year requesting to come here. I have been threatened that my transfer would be denied if my kids' grades dropped, if their attendance dropped. I have a type 1 diabetic, I have an autistic, I have one with trichotillomania, I have one with several cranial disorder, okay? Their attendance isn't great. My son has personally been bullied by a student that is now, thankfully, not a problem for him. And when that student was removed, my son smiled in the car when he came to school that day because he felt safe. I have told him, if my kids choose to make a poor choice, you better tackle them or I'm gonna tackle you. Because the student's safety, including the child that is being inappropriate and misbehaving, is what's important. As long as he is still in this school, I feel safe with my son, who is afraid to talk to anybody, including the counselors, for fear of retaliation, for fear of being bullied because of his disabilities. He's begged me not to make it public in his class because of a particular student who has harassed him. That particular student's father has brought up that my kid's grades and attendance can always be considered with my transfer. I fear not being able to come back to this school with this amazing principal for my kids just being sick or having a disability. I also feared for my son every day when he came home and told me who he was being picked on. I want to make sure that if there's an incident, as parents, we know what happens. That incident was hidden and it was covered up. We asked what happened, and staff was told specifically, do not speak about it. That was a safety incident. I am not saying tell me the student's name. I'm not saying send it home, but if there's lice, there are things that get sent home and there is protocol. And I want it documented that you guys did not alert the parents of a situation. And if you had to let him go because you thought there was a safety issue, as parents, we should have been told. We have the right to know what's going on in our school.
Okay, thank you. Move on to the other meetings, and then I've got to get these done. Okay. If folks, want, several people check policy item, that kind of thing, so, if folks want to talk about something related to, Mr. Thompson and the recent incident, I'm gonna call out their name, and we're gonna let you talk now, as opposed to waiting for policy item.
Is there a response at all to anything that three of us have said yet?
Have we?
Is there a response? Are you guys going to respond to us, or we're just gonna, you let us talk and then go on so that you think that we're done?
Well, typically, the board does not respond. We listen to patrons, because it's a school board meeting held in public. It's not a public meeting, but we are happy to listen and are willing to do that this evening. And then we may or may not get back in touch with you if you have a specific issue that you brought up, that we can get back with folks.
So if this, sorry to interrupt, but if you're saying this isn't the proper venue for the future, then how are we supposed to communicate with the school board that our students attend? You make decisions for our students, right? You don't, no one's responded back to several parents reaching out. I'm asking, how? Because we've done that and you haven't responded, so I'm asking what.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with that. I've responded to many people.
Okay, so, then let me rephrase that. You didn't respond to me.
Nor did you respond to the lady up there that just spoke. And that sounds like a pretty
I'm not gonna respond this
big
evening, I
pattern.
can tell you that, okay? So-
I'm asking, then when is the appropriate time, so we can get a response, because we are speaking, we wanna know we're A, heard, and B, like, you owe us a response.
We need to move on to the next.
When are we supposed to do it?
Okay.
You're not answering.
I don't have an answer for you right now.
Okay.
I'm sorry, okay? Mr. Blag? JR?
Right, Bray.
Right.
Yeah, J.R. Bray,
Oh,
139.
I'm sorry, yes, right.
Got it.
Got it.
139 Crestview Drive, Rossville. So of course, myself and my family stand behind Mr. Thompson. My main concern really is the whole, there's gotta be some type of policy or procedure in place when there is any type of, administrative people that are put on paid administrative leave or non-paid time off, to inform the public, everybody that, their kids that go to that school, right? You hate to even think about this, but let's say that's a disgruntled employee that was let go or laid off for paid time off, whatever, but he's disgruntled and he's coming back to the school. Well, everybody that knows about it, well, everybody that doesn't know about it just thinks that he's allowed here at school, right? If he's disgruntled and everything, anything nowadays can happen, right? So there needs to be some type of letter. You don't have to give detail, the whole procedure. We know that it all had to, I know that it all had to go through the procedures and everything for outside sources to be investigated, so on and so forth. But there should still be communication going out saying, hey, this so-and-so person is not at school right now. He is on paid time off leave, so on and so forth. And don't have to give any details. Maybe that's something you guys need to take up with legal counsel and find out, but it just seems like there needs to be communication, so.
Mr. Cease, good to see you on the ground.
Exactly. Again, I think I don't hardly know enough to address the situation, really. I just wanted to come to support Mr. Thompson tonight. I thought that was the situation right there. I didn't send you guys any messages. I didn't call you because I thought, well, you guys are handling the situation and I have confidence that you're doing the right thing in the situation. But frankly, I don't really know what happened. I don't know what the results are, but I would be interested in knowing, are we going to know sometime what's going on? And the big thing, I just wanted to come here and stand up for Mr. Thompson. As I think most of us know, he's arguably the best principal we've had in the
Yes.
history.
Yes.
I know there are, I understand you have to have outside sources, there's some incident, they have to check it out or whatever, but I think we should err on the side of knowing that he uses best judgment in whatever the situation was. And I think we should back him up on using his best judgment, whether some minor rule was broken or whatever, we should still stand up for him for using his best judgment and the way he's handled things in the school.
Thank you. Got, Mike, I think it's Mike Gokenhour?
Yes.
Right?
I, kind of just piggyback on what Mark said, standing behind Mr. Thompson. Like to hear from him this evening. Good?
Stephanie Emmons?
Yeah, question on your agenda item about the appointments of the coaches. Will these people be allowed to use school equipment? Are they limited to what equipment they can use? Or is that something to
Let me
be
answer
cited?
that. We bought a lawnmower for baseball, and softball had a lawnmower donated to them. They had the opportunity to use that piece of equipment. Never had the opportunity not to have that piece of equipment to be purchased for them. They started using the Polaris, and I'm assuming it's because it goes faster, but maintenance was using it, and we were using it, and so we stopped using it for baseball. They still had the availability of the lawnmower that we purchased specifically for them. So that would be the question that was out about the piece of equipment. It's not athletic equipment. Like I said, we purchased the mower for them. And the excuse I got was that the mower wouldn't do it, and I go, softball uses it. Softball mower is smaller than the baseball mower. So it didn't make any sense that one doesn't work and the other one does. So I think it's a matter of preference. They still have the opportunity to use equipment. These other athletes or the coaches have the opportunity to use equipment. Of those coaches there, they're all using the gyms, they're all using the wrestling mats, they're all using the weight room. Same thing happens with softball and baseball. Matter of fact, we try to treat those two exactly the same.
So
They
anyone
are.
can use the Polaris?
Pardon?
Anyone can use the Polaris, any one of the coaches?
No, they were using their lawnmowers that we purchased for them.
So the Polaris just has certain people who can use
As
it?
maintenance, yes,
Just maintenance?
maintenance.
Who can drive the school buses?
Who can drive the school buses?
Yeah.
You need a licensed school bus driver.
You mean?
The
us?
short
Activity
buses?
buses?
Yes. Yes.
Lake coaches can.
Yep,
If they're qualified.
which we are.
Go ahead, Stephanie. Did you have other, Stephanie?
No, that's what I kinda wanted to know with the equipment, if there were stipulations behind it and if.
We
And
bought our
let
own
me answer the
Ranger.
question further about school buses. As long as they comply with the laws of the state of Indiana,
Yep.
that is, it's 60 miles an hour on a state highway unless posted different, including the interstate, or 40 miles an hour on the county roads. Those people last year were exceeding the mileage hour over and over again.
What's that have to do with the Ranger?
Pardon?
What's that have to do with the use of the Ranger?
It doesn't. You asked about school buses.
Well, we're able to drive the activity buses.
Right.
I don't understand why we can't drive the Ranger.
Especially if it's not being used.
Well, it was.
We're taking care of school property.
Right, and.
Not our property.
The school
The
purchased a
school
mower
property.
specifically for baseball. Softball has a lawnmower, they're equal.
No, they're not.
No, they're
Because,
not.
because they won't, that lawnmower will not pull our drag.
That
And it-
lawnmower
and
is
it- but
bigger
hold on,
than the
hold on.
softball.
It's set 5 months with a flat tire that we couldn't get repaired.
Then that needs to be reported by your.
Oh, it was.
To who?
To Nate Burke,
Okay,
okay?
then I don't know where he didn't follow up.
It's probably our fault.
I never said that. Okay.
Jackie had a person, or a second item, miscellaneous items.
No, I covered it all.
Okay. Okay, that's all the folks that I had to speak, so you have it. We have
I thought you were opening it up.
I move to approve personnel items. Been properly moved and seconded to approve the personnel items as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Consideration update of the policy manuals. The school district participates in comprehensive policy management services to help keep Rossville school policies up to date and aligned with best practices. One of the steps is to continue to review policies to ensure that they are up to date and relevant. ISBA, Indiana School Board Association, has a model policy. The school district is working to align our manual with theirs. I've worked with ISB staff attorney Julie Slavens to review and recodify the contents of the new policy manual. Several policies have been updated, Board of Education consideration. Many policies have been recodified with new numbering systems, and old policies need to be retired. Those policies are section 1202, school attorney. It talks about the appointment of school attorney. This is a new policy, and basically it says the attorney is appointed at your annual meeting in January. 1203, the conflict of interest by the Board of Education, that was revised and updated. Board member authority, which is a new policy, basically states that your authority rests here when you're in a meeting. 1206, public expression of board members. That's been revised. Use of AEDs, that's been revised. Equal employment opportunities, a new one. Equal educational opportunities is a new policy. Early entrance appeal procedure has been revised and updated. Academic freedom and responsibilities, that deals with, like the next one as well, so 5335, the use of generative artificial intelligence programs, IA. So those policies are up for first reading. For second reading, it's challenges to the library, media, and other supplementary materials revised. So the second readings will become finalized once it's approved, and the first reading will come back for a second in December.
Move to approve the policies as presented.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the policies as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Joint services agreement. August 5th, 2023, the Board of Education meeting, the joint service cooperative included Clinton Central, Clinton Prairie, Lebanon, Western Boone, and Rossville schools. Was dissolved effective this coming July 1, 2024. On November 1st, 2023, the superintendent of Clinton Central, Clinton Prairie, and myself approved the terms of the agreement that would form the Clinton County Joint Services with the approval of the respective boards of education. Superintendent's request their board approve the agenda of the agreement to become effective on July 1st, 2024, to provide special education services to the students with disabilities who legal settlements within the boundaries of the participating school corporation. Under the agreement, Clinton County Joint Service will be formed. Its cooperative program are authorized by Indiana Code 20-35-5 and shall be operated pursuant to that statute. The next is a public hearing on additional appropriation. The public is afforded the opportunity to be heard concerning the proposed additional appropriation in the educational fund of $150,000. The educational appropriation was advertised in the Times and the Carroll County Comment on October 18, 2023. Time set aside for public testimony. Joe.
Okay. So at this time, we'll open up the meeting. If anyone would like to address the board on this specific issue, we would ask you to identify yourself and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less.
Do you have an article that we can see?
Okay. So, at this time, we will now close the public part of the meeting for this issue, and then go ahead.
Move to approve the financial items as presented.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the financial items as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all of those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Consideration overnight conference request. I'm requesting permission to attend the Indiana Associated Public School Superintendent's Annual Meeting in Indianapolis. The conference is from November 29th to December 1st. Due to the responsibility as District 3 Chairperson, I'm requesting overnight stay. The next is, Mrs. Anna Fink is requesting to attend the Indiana Music Educators Association Conference in Fort Wayne. The conference is in January 11th through the 13th, and she's requesting overnight stay as well, recommending approval of those two. And then surplus equipment. School has a variety of equipment that's no longer in use and should be declared surplus or no value. Surplus or obsolete equipment will be disposed of according to Indiana law. A list of surplus equipment has been provided to the board for consideration.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the miscellaneous items as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Reports and information field trip, second grade is headed to the Children's Museum on November the 16th. The FFA area crops and forestry and entomology contest on November 21st in Peru. November 21st, the Student Services has an educational leadership ethics conference in Indianapolis, and English 9 and 10 are headed on February 2nd to Midnight Summer Stream at Purdue. Conference requests, Jesse Davis and Brittany Need to the CTE Teacher Professional Development in Frankfurt on the 31st of October. They went to that. Kate Washburn on the 9th and 10th of November, Applied Suicide Intervention Skills and Training in Lafayette, and CPI training in Lebanon. Robin Mash, Christy Schaefer, Jordan Buck, Anna Fink, Chris Burdick, Keith Woolen, Frank Wells, and Terry Thompson. Early Learning Conference in Wabash Valley and West Lafayette, Shania Dyringer, Emily Heater, Alicia Mack on December the 8th. Abigail Ingalls on January 30th to the Writing Rope Framework for Explicit Writing Instructions, K5, West Lafayette. And on more CPI training on January 25th, 2024, Chris Corbett, Tommy Dillingham, Roy Tufford, and Jack Hay. That's in Lebanon.
Okay. At this time, I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting. Our next meeting is on December 12th, Tuesday, I believe, at 7 o'clock. We do have an executive session scheduled for 6 p.m. On that date. And just so folks know, that executive session is in regards to, we have hired a company, a group, professional development company that's going to be coming in. They've done some studies on the school, going to be giving us their report at that time. So that's what that executive session is about, just in case folks have questions on what's going on there. So,
May I just ask a quick question?
I'll-
We need to know, where can we find things like the budget? And I see some of these things up here, like an overnight stays and this. Where can we find?
Is that on the website?
Wait,
Should be?
you were just discussing it, asking where can we find the information, like the budget and how much these things are that you're spending and approving on it, so we know as parents, that's all I'm asking it.
Sure, I think you can get most of that on the website, is that correct? And if there's something you can't get on the website, contact
Contact us.
contact the superintendent's office, and they can either direct you where to find it or give you hard copies. So, or email, or, whatever, so, yeah. So all that information is public, so,
Well, I saw the one was posted in the newspaper that I live in Dayton, so I would have never seen, so I couldn't even comment on that, cause I had no clue it was gonna be published and no clue what was published, so I didn't know what to comment on.
Gotcha.
So next time we can be prepared.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate everyone coming to see folks, so, okay, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Been properly moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Put this in your, they come here for this position, so do your best. And they're Why?
Hey, Joe.
put out a thing in February of 22 that the Supreme Court ruled on the provision to get access to public records. That was law that requires the disclosure of facts, of the facts and basis for disciplinary action resulting in employees suspended, demotion, or dismissal. And I'm not blaming you because I can't. It's not just a personnel issue.
Hi, how are you guys?
Well, I'm making a disciplinary action. I'll find out.
Go ahead.
I mean, we've already been told.
Well, that's coming from, I'm just,
I'll find out.
I can do what I have to do.